Hello, I'm Master Numerologist Andre Alvin Moore, and this is part two of the analysis of the name Jasmine. But before I get into the lesson, this is an affirmation that I think that would be a benefit to you. Okay, this is a very powerful affirmation and is all true. I am not the body, I am a soul. Do not live in fear, but live with God. I have unlimited powers. Okay? Okay. Okay, so for young couples that's contemplating on starting a family, you have to understand that a name is very potent and is very powerful. And believe it or not, before you incarnate, you chose your name because you wanted to magnetize certain experiences into your life. Because the objective of every incarnation is to get off the wheel of reincarnation. That's the objective of every life. You want to get off of this wheel, you want to get out of this cosmic state of illusion, and you want to return home to the father mother principle. So when choosing a name, you must be aware of the cons and the pros of the name, or the challenges that's going to be in that particular name there. So if you can go to a numerologist and have a numerologist take a look at the vibration, of the name, and he will be able, she will be able to highlight the positive aspects, the challenging aspects, and hopefully will offer you some solutions as well. So I'm going to take a look at the name of Jasmine, and I'm going to break it down for you. So here we go. Jasmine, Jasmine. So the first thing you want to do is you want to count the letters within the name. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that's the first thing you want to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's the beginning of the reading. What does the sevens represent? Well, the seven is saying that this whole name is going to be surrounded by God's light. That's what that means. That the whole name, the whole vibration is surrounded by God's light. But what the individual have to do is allow the light to come in. To allow the light to come in. Okay? And in order to do that, it must relax the consciousness. Before this person that carries this name try to do anything, it needs to sit in meditation or silence or solitude and allow the light of God to enter so it can have clarity. So that's the first thing you want to do. If you're vibrating with a name that has 7 letters. Okay. So here we go. Jasmine, Jasmine. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing you want to take a look at. What is the first vowel and what is the first letter? So the first vowel is an A and the first letter is a J. The first letter is called your earth tone. What is an earth tone? Our earth tone has more weight than the other letters because it comes first. It kind of like give you a very strong it's a very strong indicator of what the person or the place or the thing, how it's really resonating. It's a very important piece of information of how the person, place, or thing is resonating, is vibrating, and is more powerful than the other because it comes first. It's equivalent to people that's on the first line in a battle, on a battlefield. The soldiers at the front is going to receive the heaviest assault, as opposed to the soldiers that's way in the back. You understand? So the second piece of information you want to take a look at is the first vowel and the first letter. Okay, so J equals 10 because J is the 10th letter of our of our of our alphabet, and continue 1 plus 0 equals a 1, and then A equals a 1. Okay, so right off the bat you got the first letter is a 1 and you have the first vowel is a 1. Okay, the 1 energies are indicating an individual that has potentiality as being upfront with you, a personality that have courage, a personality that has a desire to want to be good at something, to be the best at something. Okay? So that's another indicator of the personality of an individual. Okay, so the second thing you want to take a look at, let me just go ahead and put the vibrations on all of these. Okay, these are like the sub elements, meaning that these are the ingredients that goes into the name. So it got a little bit of this, got a little bit of that, and got a little bit of this. But what you want to look at to see if any of these numbers are repeating, because that is going to indicate if the personality is going to lean more in one direction as opposed to another direction. So as you can see here, Jasmine has 3 1s. Okay, so that's going to modify the vibration of this name. What do I mean? These 1s are going to overpower the rest of these numbers in intensity, in behavior. Okay, and because there's 3 of them, you may find an individual that has an over opinion about itself, or it may come across as someone that's very opinionated, someone that's difficult to reason with because it's so sure of itself. So that creates an intensity point. Too many ones can make the personality difficult to deal with. Okay? So then here you see that you have two fives to come together. But once again, these two fives create a 10, which creates a 1. So now we have 3 ones that you do see and a 1 that you don't see, but it's there hidden between the double fives. So now I have 4 1s. Okay, this 4 and this 3 is going to make the 7. Remember, I told you the light that surrounds the name. But now these 4 1s is showing me how to contain these 3 1s. In other words, this 4 here gonna have to try to put some discipline within that 1 energy. This 4, this box is gonna have to try to put some discipline within this 1 energy, because see, a 1 energy has to learn the lesson of yielding. This 1 energy has to learn how to understand that it's not in this world by itself, but it's in the world of other individuals. And that can be a very hard lesson because it has such a strong intensity point. It has 4 of them. But the solution is also the structure. Got to put structure around it. You understand? Okay. So that's another piece of information. Do you have any numbers that repeat? And we do. We have 3 1s and we have 2 5s. Okay. Now, next piece of information you want to take a look at. This 4 and this 9 is also offering us an indicator of how to put these ones in check, because the 4 and the 9, 4 plus 9 equals 13, which breaks us back down to the 4 energy. So in other words, this 1 energy, this these 3 1s create a very expressive person. Someone that may lean towards being loquacious, overly talkative, perhaps very loud, very arrogant, but at the same time very strong and very determined. And it may not see others, and it may because it don't see others, it may not be able to get along with other people, or it may turn a lot of other people off from itself. So this 4 energy is saying you need to structure your 3. You need to structure your expression better. You understand? You just need to take more deliberation in what it is that you want to say and how you want to say it, because these 3 1s will have a mouth on it, right? Or it can be a very creative, artistic type of individual. But right now, I'm speaking of the 3 energy is using the voice expression. You understand? Could be a person that can be very argumentative, always like to argue, or always want to debate you. You know, it's like you start a conversation, before you know it, it's all about wanting to debate you. I got to prove my point. I got to prove that I'm right and you're wrong. And that's what can happen when you have an individual with these 3 1s, and you see they come together. There's no other numbers separating them. So it's coming with a full force, which is going to be difficult and very challenging. But this 1 added to these 3 1s right here give you the 4 energy, which gives you an opportunity to try to structure the 3 energy. And this 4 and this 9 also make that 13, bring you back down to that 4 energy. Now, these 2 5s that come at the end of the name, meaning that the voice may move rapidly, because a 5 is an energy that moves rapidly. And so you may be in the presence of an individual that had the 3 1s that likes to talk and talk real fast. You understand? um, for example, a person that might be a con artist. They're, trying to speak so fast that you really can't hear what they're trying to say, and they're using a word power to manipulate their words to get you to do what they want you to do. So you got to also be aware that they can be fast talkers, slick talkers. You understand? Or their tongue may move so fast that they may say something that later on they may regret. But then they may not care, because the one energy can have a tendency to be very arrogant. And when you have three of them, then it's going to be very challenging for the one to yield or to offer up an apology. And the yielding has to be there in order for the ones to be able to get along with other people. And you see, they're hidden is here because 1 plus 1 equals 2. And then this one over here, 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? So you got the two twos that sits here, right? They're hidden, but it's what's going to be needed. You see how the two energy is more, you know, it bends over. It has more of a willingness to want to cooperate with you. So the ones is going to have to learn that. It's going to be a hard lesson because there's so many of them, but it's what is needed. And of course, the two tools come together to give us the 4, which once again means that the conversation and communication needs to be structured. It needs to be slowed down, slow it down so I can hear what you're saying. And then when you speak, choose your words more. Um, try to stay grounded in the conversation. Try to be more sensitive to other individuals that you're talking to. Don't be raising your voice unnecessarily. And if you find yourself going off the handle or being very rude to other people, I don't care what you think about me. I'm going to do what I want to do. I've been doing this all my life this way, and I don't care what you think about me. I'm going to continue to do what I want to do, and I don't care what you say. You understand? Well, that type of attitude turns a lot of people off because you're not showing the humility of the two, right? You're not understanding that you're not in this world by yourself, and your point of view, even though it may be strong, it may not be the right point of view, or another individual may not see it as you do, and you can't force me to see it by hitting me over the head with your mouth. You understand? Now, the 3 energy may also be expressive in somebody that's a creative person, but once again, if a 3 energy say is on stage, well, they may want to be like the lead dancer or the lead singer within the group, and they may not understand why they can't be up front, right? They won't be able to understand why, they have to take a lesser position within the group or within the band, or they may stand out. You understand? They may have so much talent that automatically they find themselves coming to the front. But once again, though, they still have to show the humility, right? People are gonna have a hesitation to want to follow you if you always pushing them around. You have to show them the humility. Okay. And the last piece of information you want to take a look at is the core of the name. When you add all these energies together, you're gonna get a pattern. So let's go. So we got like 10, 19, 20, 23, 24, 25, 26. So that makes a 26, 8 energy. Now, this 2s and these 6s is saying once again, you got the yield. Both of these numbers are numbers that yield. The 8 energy is not an energy that yields. It's forceful. Like the 1s and the 4 and the 8s are very forceful numbers. But once again, This particular individual that's carrying this name right here must learn the lesson to yield. And if it don't learn that lesson, it's probably gonna turn off a lot of people. When you get in a personal relationship, you may be the type of individual that's always, complaining about the relationship, complaining about your partner. You're not seeing the good in the person, you're always seeing the mistakes within the person. You don't want to praise the person, but you want to tear the person down. That's because there's an intensity point because of these three ones. Now, if it was just if it was just one number within the name, then that's a more balanced individual because everybody needs to have some sense of self-esteem. But when you have triple ones coming right at the beginning of the name, then the lesson is to learn to yield and to think about somebody else other than yourself, which is going to be a very hard lesson. Now, this is just a name. Understand, the person have a middle name perhaps or a last name, and then they have their birth cycles, and there's other indicators that might be able to soften these ones. But I tell you, if if I dove just a little bit deeper into the personality of Jasmine, and she tells me that she's an only child, okay, there's a one. Or if she tells me that she lives on the first floor, that's a one. Or if she tells me that she lives in apartment 1 or apartment 10 or apartment 19, see, that's another one. So now the ones are just piling up more and more and more. And so what I would advise the individual is to stay away from the ones. Don't move on the first floor. Move on the second floor. Don't take that apartment with, number 1. Take an apartment that says like number 2. Try to stay away from the forces of the ones because you have so many of them already. And it's just going to continue to weigh you down. Now, if you find yourself moving and each address you move into is a predomination of ones, that's telling you that you still haven't learned the lesson of humility. You understand? So, say you live in a house and the address is say 1131. Okay, and then you move, and then you have another house that says maybe 3114. These ones are still trailing you. That means that you haven't learned your lesson. You still haven't learned the value of yielding. Okay? So it's just a name, but it's a name that has a lot of potency. And that's why I say if you're going to be naming your children, you ought to know how that name is vibrating. So a numerologist can highlight that. It can show you the strengths, it can show you the challenges, and also offer you some solutions on how to counteract it, to alert the parent or to alert the child so they'll be able to self-evaluate themselves. You understand? To self-evaluate themselves. So anyhow, that's my reading on the name of Jasmine. Maybe next week I'll start doing live readings and I'll take a look at your name and to show you the strengths of the name, the challenges of the name, and if I see challenges, how give you some pointers on how to counteract those challenges. Sometimes the one's energies are not standing up for themselves. They have the potentiality to be strong, the potentiality to become a leader. They got the potentiality, but they don't have no faith in themselves. You see, or they see themselves as a weakling, even though their numbers are indicating that you have strength and power. Because then that's a psychological block. See, I can't do it. I've never been able to accomplish anything in my life. But I'm looking at your numbers and I'm saying, no, you have it. But you just don't believe in yourself. And so then my job as a numerologist is to, instill the confidence in an individual. And one way you do that is showing a person what they're working with. showing them the goal. Now you have goal, right? You have goal, but you don't see it. But I'm going to show it to you. You understand? And perhaps, after I reveal it to you, you might start accepting, oh yeah, I have value. I have worth. See? Okay, so until the next video, peace.